All right, so how is this possible? Well, let's take a look at my gear. So yeah, if you want to use current gear in the game and you want to beat the toughest new bosses, you're gonna need the best gear. So I'm using Wise Superior with just the basic enchants. I'm using Aspect of the Dragons with Smite instead of Sharpness, and I'm using Lifesteal. About Lifesteal, um, it used to be 5%, and we nerfed it in the update because there was actually a bug that it didn't heal anyone. So that 5% was zero. We looked at 5%, saw it was a lot, so we nerfed it to 0.3, which sounds super lame, but it's actually fairly strong healing. I'll show you later. I'm using Wand of Restoration, which is 40 per second. This is a new item from the Slayer quest. You can use the cheaper, like this is very expensive, but this one, it's not even that expensive, but anyway, it takes a long time to get. This one's easier to get, but it's only 30 healing per second. And then I'm using Crit 3, Strength 6, and Regen 7, which is really strong. I'm using for talismans the meta basically just godly until I have 80% crit chance and then itchy. And then I look at my stats, I have 84% crit chance, which becomes 100% using the crit potion. And then 200% crit damage, which is low compared to what people are used to, but it's because I used Wise Reforge because I focused on intelligence so that I can have enough mana and not have to worry about it for my sustainabilities. And I also have maxed fairy souls, which is very important. So let's take a look. 1,000 damage per second, which sounds a lot. Zombie DPS, 1,000. And this figure, actually, there's something a bit innovative or whatever with these bosses. I can show you actually. And I launched Guild Wars 2 by accident. Go away. There's this program. This isn't Skyblock code. This is a simulator. So this DPS adjuster is in Skyblock, but all the rest isn't. And this is a program that showcases the DPS adjuster's functionality. Basically, the Minecraft mobs are very bad at damage application. They're bad at hitting you because they don't go as fast as you, they have less range, and they have poor AI. So what this tries to solve is to just put instead of putting a damage value and an attack speed and whatever, the boss just has a DPS value, the 1,000 you see in the game. So this simulator here, it has the Pestilence AoE, which is every second. It has the Life Drain, which is every 2.5, and then it's got the melee damage, which is fairly often. So if I run the simulator, it just calculates, like it tries to balance the boss damage depending on the events that happen so that it's around 1,000, and it's pretty good at it. Like I can just change this to 2,000 and it's gonna be around 2,000 plus or minus 5-10%. See, it's around 2,000. So this DPS value is quite constant. How it works is basically if the boss hits you rarely, like if he has a hard time hitting you, every strike he does is gonna be more. But if he keeps pummeling you and hitting you very fast, then every strike he does is going to be less, just so that it's around the expected DPS. So what I'm saying, for these bosses, what you need to do is to match your healing with the DPS. So let's look at my healing with the dragon gear. Yeah. So what do I have? I have Wand of Restoration. Wand of Restoration, which is 40. I have this Regen pot, which is also 40. I have Lifesteal, right? So 0.3% times, I deal about 10,000 per hit, so that's 30 per second if I hit once per second, but a lot of people hit twice per second, but let's say I'm fair and like I hit just once in a while, so that's only like Lifesteals, let's say I heal for 20 per second. And then I have Minecraft base healing. Actually, it's pretty low, but it's something. So 6 per 2, that's 8, right? So base Minecraft 8. So if we sum it up, 80, 40, 80, 108, right? So healing is 108 HP per second. But then I have defense, right? Which is very important. So defense is, there's actually a formula for it. You can think of it like it's like a multiplier for your effective health. I can show you actually. People think of effective health right now in the game. If we look at Megget's sheet, that's how they compare the different armor sets. You can look at like the effective HP. All right, so you have like 22 or whatever. I have fairly high effective HP right now. So how you compute effective healing is you use the defense multiplier, which is like, let's say defense multiplier equal to, there's a formula. It's 1 over 100 over 100 plus defense. So if actually I run this in Google, I have it here, right? 764. That's 8.64. And it's not that big brain. All you have to do is look at 764, you divide by 100, so that's 7.6, and you add 1. That's 8.64. So if I compute it for my effective HP right now, 1446 times 8.64, I have effective HP of 12,493, and I can do the same for my healing. So this is the base healing, and I have my effective healing. I do 108 times 8.64, it's 933 EHP per second. So this is still lower than the boss damage, but there's a few factors. The first one I can show you is that even if you don't heal for the full amount, you still survive, right? Because I do 1000 minus 923. That's the damage I mitigate from the boss. So I take 67 DPS, which means I can survive duration. So that's 12,493 divided by 67. 12,590, which means I can survive for 186 seconds. But beyond that, in my gear, I also use, if I take a look here, I use the zombie ring, which is accessible from fairly early on. The zombie ring recipe, it reduces the boss DPS by 1000. So this only applies for melee strikes, the talisman, which accounts for about 60% of the boss's damage. So if so it's about like 600, it's about 900 DPS then, yeah. 940, which is even closer to my effective healing. So like I have plenty of time to deal enough damage to kill the boss. And that's with the dragon gear. So there was a bit of criticism here from this guy. He was unhappy. He said the mobs run incredibly fast and have glitchy, idiotic UI, which is fair. I mean, it's hard to do good AI, but I did action on this because I realized that, actually, probably you don't know that, but the bosses target the person with the most EHP. And there was a bug with them for group content where the boss would target people 50 blocks away. So they would start running randomly when someone was like running away. So I fixed that after reading this. And also they instantly heal full midway through the fight. That was also another bug under certain conditions. Well, part of it is a bug, but basically the bosses, if they're out of combat, like if they don't deal damage or receive damage, they will regenerate very fast, and that's to avoid most exploits from players based on like positioning or whatever. Anyway, so after reading this, I increased the time and I fixed the bug. And then the other criticism, and literally no previous armor is good enough to complete the bosses. I have been grinding perfect 10 armor. So this guy feels bad about this perfect 10 armor because he spent so much time and he figured it's not good against these boss. But actually, that's incorrect, because I showed you with the Wise armor, and I have here a piece of Wise perfect 10. And perfect 10 is really hard to get. So with just these three pieces, I have 1000 defense. So let's, if I do, what is it? Perfect, yeah, perfect. I have the same healing, 108, but instead of having my damage multiplier of 8.64, I have defense 1028 3 pieces. And so effective healing is equal to 108 times 10.28 equal to 1000, which trivializes the fight even more. Like, but the perfect armor is better against these Slayer bosses because you get more effective healing. And that's with just 3 pieces. And here's a key point about the zombie boss is there's a piece of gear in the game called the zombie heart, which you get from Zombie Flesh collection. And this says, and we didn't change it, it says healing boost, doubles all healing effects. So this 1000 whatever, like if I put it on my head here with my perfect armor, I heal for 2k, 2.2k effective DPS. It means the boss could deal 2000 DPS and I was still out heal him. And we made some, so I have the revived heart. We made some new recipes to upgrade the zombie heart actually. So whoops, revived heart, just to give it stats so that it's more interesting, but it's very expensive. So you have the revived heart, which gives more intelligence, health, and defense. And you made it from a crystallized heart, which is also made from a zombie heart, and it's pretty expensive and whatever. But my point is, like, you can totally, if I was using this in the video, I would just slam down the boss. I could just beat him while he's in rage. I wouldn't have to run. And further, we made these new pieces of gear which are really strong. Which are really strong against the specific bosses. Each boss has an armor set that's good against the boss. So in the case of the zombie, we have the Revenant armor, which you can see it has defense. The zombie bulwark is about as much as the zombie, the perfect armor, and it even increases the healing ones, but heal by 50%. So those healing ones, right? That 40. Well, if I plus 50% using the Revenant set, it's 60 times 2, because this is a 3-piece set on purpose so that you can put the head on your head. You can put the zombie heart on your head. So 60 times 2, it's 120 just from the round 1 of restoration. And then it also has the set bonus, increase defense against zombies, and voila. And not only that, you also have gear like this sword here, the Reaper Falcon, which is fairly expensive. There's also another version, the Revenant Falcon. But if you compare my 2 swords, right, my Aspect of the Dragons, 225, 100, and then this is 100 and 120 and 100. Right, but it has a bonus here. It heals you for 10. It heals you at the bottom, right, below the enchants. It heals you for 10 hearts per hit, which is even more healing. It deals plus 2% damage against zombies, and you receive 20% less damage from zombies, which means that this sword is like 360 and 100, which is way better than any sword in the game, but only against zombies. And it also reduces the 1000 DPS even further. And there's even more. Like at level 7, there's even better. Oh yeah, surprise, by the way, you can get to level 8 and 9. But like at level 7, you have this Reaper Scythe, and you can get the Reaper Mask, which is an even better, like, it doesn't end how much you can slam dunk this boss. But all of this healing talk I'm talking about, well, we thought about it. Like, we don't really want the zombie armor to be, the Revenant armor to be the end-all be-all against all content. So these 2 other bosses have other gimmicks which counter this, so that you have to grind the spider-specific gear in order to kill it. So in the case of the spider, if we look here, it deals even more damage. But we saw, like, you can beat that damage. You see here, Noxious deals AoE damage every second, reducing your healing by 50%. So all the benefits that you get from the heart, well, this gets cut down. But we have a piece of gear, Tarantula chestplate, that has antitoxin, which is immune. It makes you immune to healing reduction, which lets you beat the Tarantula boss. And similarly, this Van Pegmaster has insane amount of true damages, and then we have the Mastiff armor, which has insane flat health, so that it counters the true damage. So like, yeah, it will require a decent amount of grinding, and it's pretty hardcore content. And I can concede that it's pretty boring. It might be boring to kill 200 mobs to spawn it, but it is possible. It's definitely solvable, and it's can be fun. Anyway, see ya.